The triage bay of the Galactic Frontline Hospital on Vora Prime was chaos made flesh. Metallic dust hung in the air, machines hummed like angry insects, and the screams of wounded soldiers, both human and alien, echoed off sterile walls. Medbots scurried between biobeds, dispensing nanogel and stabilizers in mechanical efficiency. Dr. Arlen Holt, the only human veterinarian turned field medic on base, stood in the center of it all. His hands moved with quiet precision, suturing flesh, sealing wounds, recalibrating prosthetic limbs. But his face carried none of the arrogance of the other medics. He was calm, patient, and steady, his eyes lined by years of both empathy and exhaustion. He had once worked with animals on Earth, dogs, horses, even elephants before the interstellar war drafted him. When humans allied with certain alien species, the demand for biological specialists exploded. Arlen, with his calm voice and unshakable gentleness, became known among the troops as the Whisperer. But on that particular evening, something disrupted the flow of triage. A deep growl reverberated through the bay. Metal gurneys rattled. Two medtechs stumbled backward as the figure on the platform roared, a massive Cartil warrior, scales glinting like obsidian armor, blood pouring from a wound across his chest. His twin hearts thudded like war drums. The medics froze. The Cartil were infamous for killing anyone who touched them without permission. "Get away," hissed one of the alien nurses. "He's feral. He'll crush you." The wounded alien struggled against the restraints, eyes burning with a molten gold fury. "No one touches me. No human treatment." Arlen wiped his hands on a cloth, his voice soft. "What happened?" A junior medic whispered, trembling. "We tried to close the wound, he broke the restraints and nearly killed the team. He won't let us inject him." Arlen studied the alien's vitals on the holoscreen, hemorrhaging badly, collapsing lung, cellular rot setting in from plasma burns. Without intervention, he had maybe 20 minutes left. The alien roared again, spitting blood. "I'd rather die than let one of you touch me." Arlen didn't argue. He just stepped closer. The other medics gasped. "Doctor, stop. He'll rip you apart." But Arlen ignored them. Slowly, he approached the trembling alien, hands visible, posture relaxed. "Easy, buddy," he whispered. The words were simple, soft, almost humanly absurd against the growl of machines and pain. But something in the tone made the alien's eyes flicker. Arlen didn't reach for tools. He just knelt beside the bed. "You're Cartil, right?" he asked gently. "Fierce lot. I treated one of your war beasts once, a six-legged predator called a Dravren. Mean thing. Didn't trust anyone. But he let me clean his wounds after I spoke to him softly." The alien's breathing slowed just slightly, though blood still trickled from his side. Arlen smiled faintly. "So, let's make a deal. I won't hurt you. I'll fix you up, and you can hate me all you want after. Fair?" The warrior glared, chest heaving. "You talk like we're animals." Arlen's tone didn't change. "No. I talk like you're in pain." The alien's jaw twitched. His eyes flicked downward to the gash leaking black blood and then back up. After a long, tense silence, he grunted. "Do it. But if you lie, I'll crush your skull." Arlen nodded once. "Fair enough." Middle, the Whisperer's hands. The other medics cleared the area, murmuring warnings, but Arlen didn't flinch. He sterilized the tools by hand instead of using the automated arms. The alien's body tensed each time a scanner beeped, his claws scraping against the metal table. "Name?" Arlen asked softly. "Commander Vrex of the Third Fang," the alien rasped. "Commander," Arlen said. "You've got a plasma rupture under the rib plates. If I patch it wrong, it'll collapse your second lung. I'll need to cut." "Do it." The human worked quickly, but his motions were almost tender. He didn't bark orders or rush. His gloved fingers were careful as he lifted one of the alien's massive scales aside to insert a stabilizer. The cartil watched him the entire time, breathing hard, ready to strike, but he never did. At one point, Arlen's injector malfunctioned, releasing a puff of steam. The alien growled. "Sure," Arlen murmured again. "Easy, buddy. It's just pressure release." Those words, easy, buddy, hit deeper than any sedative. They reminded Vrex of the Dravren cubs his soldiers used to raise, how they calmed them with low hums and gentle words. No human should have known that tone. Yet this one did. Half an hour later, the bleeding stopped. Arlen sealed the wound with biogel, then adjusted the alien's breathing mask. "You're stable. You'll feel weak, but you'll live." Vrex turned his head slightly, watching the human pack up his tools. "Why didn't you use the drones? Or the autosuture?" Arlen shrugged. "You wouldn't have trusted them. Machines don't have empathy." The alien huffed. "You risked your life for an enemy." Arlen's voice was quiet. "Pain doesn't care what species you are." For the first time, Vrex didn't know what to say. 3 days later, word spread across the base. The human vet had treated a cartil warlord and lived. Some humans called it luck. The cartil soldiers called it impossible. Yet when the commander awoke fully, he requested to see the human again. Arlen entered the recovery bay, wiping his hands on a cloth. "How's the lung?" "Functional," Vrex replied, flexing his claws. "Your methods are crude, but effective." "I'll take that as a compliment." Vrex studied him in silence. "You could have left me to die. Why didn't you?" Arlen looked around the med bay, dozens of species recovering, groaning, healing. "Because once, I had a dog named Sirius. He was old and mean. Bit me twice. But when he broke his leg, he still looked at me for help. Because sometimes, even the toughest creatures need someone who doesn't flinch." Vrex's golden eyes narrowed. "You compare me to an earth beast." Arlen smiled faintly. "Only the good kind." To his own surprise, Vrex chuckled a deep, rumbling sound. "You are strange, human. I get that a lot." Climax, the second battle. A week later, the war returned. The hospital was hit by orbital bombardment. Explosions tore through the sky as enemy drones invaded the perimeter. Arlen was evacuating the wounded when the roof caved in. The last thing he saw was a beam of metal collapsing toward him, then blackness. When he woke, everything was smoke and fire. His leg was pinned under debris. The medbots were offline, systems fried. He could hear screams, alien and human alike. The oxygen generators were failing. Then came a thunderous roar. Through the smoke, Vrex appeared, armor half-melted, blood streaked across his scales. He had returned from the front lines. With a snarl, he tore the debris off Arlen and lifted him in one arm. "You fixed me," Vrex growled. "Now it's my turn." They staggered through collapsing corridors. Arlen's vision blurred, coughing from the smoke. "Leave me, save your soldiers." Vrex snarled. "Quiet, human. Easy, buddy." Arlen blinked. "Did you just—" "Your words," Vrex said simply, carrying him through the flames. "They work." The two burst out into the open hangar as shuttles launched into the burning sky. Together, they hauled wounded soldiers, both human and cartil, onto transports until the last ship left the ground. As the base exploded behind them, Arlen and Vrex sat side by side in the evac bay, both burned, both bleeding. Arlen chuckled weakly. "Guess I'm your patient now." Vrex glanced at him, then actually smiled.